Hey, what's up? This is Seth Green, and you are listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark, and I am so hot, I would desperately like a glass of water. Please, please, give me some water.
This is Cindy Preston, and I'm with Mark on Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Melissa Peterman from CMT's The Singing Bee and the television show Reba. And I have to tell you, I just have to get it off my chest, I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi there. This is Faith Roscoe from General Hospital. You're listening to Mark on Somewhere in Vegas. And you better watch out. We know how to find you if you're not listening.
Hi, this is Shannon Egan from Whippet, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hey, this is Lee Allen Baker with Somewhere in Vegas, talking with Mark with a Q.
This is Courtney Cronin. You're listening to Somewhere in Vegas with your host, Mark, and I would make sure to listen every week because he's a sure bet.
Hey, this is the Money Man, Eddie Money. I got 2 tickets to Paradise, and it's, you know what? It's Somewhere in Vegas. And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Hi, this is Crystal Gale, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Terry Nunn from Berlin, and you're listening to Mark Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Miracle Laurie from Joss Whedon's Dollhouse. There are 3 flowers in a vase, and I'm listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Erin Hill, and you are listening to Mark on Blog Talk Radio and Somewhere in Vegas. Mark is a great guy.
Hi, this is Sean Pulaski. I'm still trying to figure out Mark Pico's sexuality, but I know you're listening to Somewhere Live in Vegas.
Here you go, Mark. I'm sorry. I thought you were she. I'm sorry. Get out of the tent. Let's get out of here.
Hey, this is Lance and Anna from Free Radio. And Anna?
And you're listening to Somewhere in Vegas.
Yes.
My favorite.
You know, that's usually what happens with me. I go to Vegas and I get lost, and so I end up somewhere in Vegas.
Somewhere in Vegas.
But I just don't know where it is.
Not quite sure.
Yeah, word.
Get ready. It's going to be hot. It's in Vegas. Check out Mark. Be there or be square.
My guest at this time is a very, very talented individual, and considering that he's not only an actor, he's also a director, he's a musician, and he's probably one of the better-known stuntmen out of Hollywood. His movie from 1989 called Action USA, they just re-released an uncensored trailer to promote the movie coming to the Alamo Film House, as well as coming out in Walmart stores and elsewhere as well. The really talented Jon Stewart is on with us right now. How you doing, John?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, just reading your resume, it's kind of unbelievable how many directions that you've been in as well. And you know, a lot of people probably know you from a lot of things that they may not have noticed, but you know, it's a quite a resume, as it were. Tell me a little bit about, first of all, how you got into stunt work.
Well, I got into it when I was 10 years old. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a stuntman. So I got into, in Boston, where I grew up, my friend owns a movie theater, and he was doing a grand opening. So I went down, did a couple of stunts, lit myself on fire, jumped through a plate glass window in the lobby, those kind of things. And the news was down there covering it. And a producer was in town doing a Matt Dillon picture, and he got my number from news, called me up and said, hey, can you come down and do something on this movie we're doing? And that was the start of my movie career. And I did a couple of pictures in Boston before moving to California and doing that whole thing. So that's how it started, but I always knew that's what I wanted to do, you know, growing up since I was 10. Of jumping mini bikes and all that good stuff when I was a kid.
And we're also privileged to have songwriting partner and member of the band, lead singer of Juliana, Madeleine Kaye is also on with us. How you doing, Maddie?
Hey, thanks for having me. Everything's good.
Yeah,
I can't see John.
Yeah, I know.
Am I on or no?
John.
Your video's not on, but we can hear you.
Well, hold on.
In the bottom left, go to Start Video.
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't know why it didn't start.
I'm his technical producer sometimes.
Yeah, and Maddie, I mean, you know, great to hear from you as well. Tell me a little bit about how you and John got started in the band.
For sure. So John and I were friends, and we were trying to make some country music together, actually. And then he was working with a secondary act, and he brought me in to do background vocals. And pretty much as soon as John and I started playing and singing together, we knew that there was a different collaboration that could happen there. So we jumped on starting Juliana in May, and it's just been a roller coaster since then. It's really an amazing band that we've put together, and everything's happening really fast. So it definitely felt really serendipitous once John and I started making the Spanish music together instead of the country music, and everything's been happening. So it's fun.
How did you get started in music, Julie and Maddie?
You can call me Juliana if you want. So I actually started in musical theater. I started doing theater when I was a kid, and got my first cell phone at 8 years old because I was staying at the community playhouse till 9 or 10 at night doing community theater, and it's been a love of mine for a really long time. And I never considered myself a songwriter until John really pushed me there and saw some talent in me and made me want to write songs to his amazing melodies. So the songwriting thing is within the last 6 months, but I've been singing musical theater style music for like 15 years.
Now, how is the process, the songwriting process between you two? Does John bring the music in to you to do lyrics? Do you have lyrics that you bring to the table, or is it a combination of both?
We start with John. John does all the melody work, and things really naturally come to him, all of these Spanish melodies. And then he'll send me a melody track over email, and I'll basically start writing, and then we collaborate in person once we get into the rehearsal room and work the lyrics and work the melodies there. And in this virtual age, we're able to do a lot of it digitally to start, and then we come into the rehearsal room and we have our percussionist, Bob Ross, and John and I, and we work everything out there.
John, how was it for the direction of Juliana? I mean, Maddie was saying about country music, and you kind of went towards the Latin style. Tell me a little bit about kind of that transition over from a maybe more of a country style to a Latin style.
Well, I just had it in me. Like a lot of times, I'll pick up the guitar and I'll hear these Spanish rhythms in my head, and it'll come out of me via guitar. So I don't speak the language, or I can't sing at all anyway. But I had no one to write with, so I just basically had kind of a little catalog in my head of these melodies. And then when I met her, I just started. They come out of me real easy, and I just, like she says, I get them down on a top out on a track and send her. But I was doing country, and it's all the same. If you listen to country radio, it's all the same artists are playing, all day long. It's nothing new. And then, I don't know, Nashville's changed. It's all commercialized now. If you go downtown, you don't really see any country acts unless you go to Bluebird, They're all just singing commercial stuff that's on the radio. So I was watching the Spanish Awards this year, and it was all computerized songs, most of them that I heard anyway, and I watched the whole show. It was all computerized stuff, and I'm like, shit, I gotta start writing some stuff. This is nuts. So one thing with our band is nothing's computerized. It's all real players. We're trying to bring the realness back into the music. So that's what gave me the ambition to do it by watching the show, and didn't see much out there that I would like. If I was going to a concert, I don't want to listen to computers and playback, I want to listen to the real band.
Yeah, the good comparison would be the Nashville sound versus what they call outlaw country. I'm more of an outlaw country fan myself. I like some of that old school kind of edge to my music as well. So it's, I think that there is a hunger for that to kind of come back around where we're way, that line between country and pop has blurred so much that it's pretty much pop without the country. So it's kind of missing something.
It is, and I'm guilty of it. I wrote a ton of those songs, and I wasn't getting none out of it. And I think Spanish is so sexy, especially the way she sings. It's just so much better to me, the music. Even though we're Spanish pop, I would call it, with a little kind of rockish thrown in there, it still sounds so much sexier to me when she sings in Spanish than English. So that's why I'm drawn to it. I just want to write music that I like to listen to, even though I don't understand it. But I just like to listen to the melodies and, the way the voices sound.
Yeah, Maddie, when you were growing up, what were some of the artists that you were listening to?
Well, I'm a 90s kid, so I was definitely big on those pop groups, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, but really I was such a musical theater nerd that most of my musical influences, I would say, were from old Broadway cast albums like Carousel, Cinderella, a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein, and new musicals like I grew up in the Hairspray generation, Wicked, that kind of stuff. I love 80s music. I love Pat Benatar and Joan Jett. I'm a huge Janis Joplin fan, and that was something that connected John and I right away. Was my audition track for him was Bobby McGee, and I think that he saw a lot of that like old soul sort of theatrical singing in my voice, which we bring a lot of that to Juliana. And I was going to say, like, John's experience doing country music and my experience in musical theater, it does bring this whole new energy and vibe to Spanish music too. And it allows us the freedom to sort of create our own genre with using Spanish language.
Now, with with you on stage, I mean, it's got to be kind of fun to be able to, a lot of performers sometimes don't like to move on stage. They like a smaller stage. They just want to be a little bit more intimate. But I'm pretty sure you like a little bit bigger stage, so you can kind of I don't want to say act, but perform a little bit more. I mean, is that the thing that you think a little bit about, Maddie, at all?
Oh, yes. So if you check out our YouTube video for Mi Amor Robado, we have this big stage. We use DC Studios in West Palm Beach to film that. And we definitely want to have dancers and performance aspects to our songs because the music does make you want to move. And yes, for sure, as an actress, as a dancer, as someone who loves performing, I definitely like that big space and to be able to use the words of the song to create more of a performance than something intimate.
Yeah. Now, John, I mean, like I said, we'll get back to the music in a bit, but I'm interested in still talking to you a little bit about your acting and directing career as well, and also being a stuntman. I mean, just seeing your resume of work, it's just absolutely unbelievable to see so many things that you've been on. Is there a stunt in particular that you love to doing that is probably one of your favorite stunts to do?
Well, one of the biggest ones I did was a high fall on fire of a 16-story building for a movie called Cold Steel. And that got a lot of, what do you want to call it, press or, publicity, because it was, back at the time, it was very high. It was no green screen. We didn't work with any green screen back then. And I was completely engulfed on flames, and it was a 16-story. So that was a pretty big stunt. But what I really love to do is drive. I like the days where I just come on. Like in Action USA, I directed and produced a movie. I wasn't technically allowed to do any stunts. Obviously, if I got hurt, production would have to shut down or whatever. But they wanted me behind the camera. But all the driving scenes where you see the POVs, in the chase scenes, the camera moving, I had a camera on a stunt car, and that was me driving. So I got to get my driving fix out of that. But that's what I love to do. I was driving cars since I was, I think, 10 years old, I had my first car, I think, 12 years old, a Charger. So I love to go to work, driving. That was the most fun for me. They weren't the most biggest stunts, but, if you ask me what I had the most fun at, that was it, driving.
Being a 90s kid myself, Maddie, I remember the old school Power Rangers TV show, and John was lucky enough to be able to direct quite a few of those episodes as well. How fun was it for you, John, to be on the set and to work on that show?
Well, at first it was just, we didn't even know the show was popular. It was a regular job basically, and then once we on one Friday they called us up to do a live appearance at Universal Amphitheater. And we were driving there. We had in the limo, me, the producer, and the actors, the kids. And we're driving up the 101 freeway, and it was 11 o'clock in the morning on a Friday morning, and the freeway was shut down. And it was, what the hell's going on? So we get diverted off that, and then we're going up the big hill to Universal in L.A. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a huge 2-lane road that goes up to the top where you park and go through the gates. And that was blocked. There was like 35,000 people. So I said to the producer, maybe the Stones are playing tonight or something. Maybe they can get us tickets. We had no clue that they were there for us. And as soon as we get out of the limo, it was like 35,000 screaming kids, and mothers just started running at us. And the Universal tram came and just threw us in the tram, took us backstage. So that's when we were doing a show for like